participation comes from Matt Carrier and Leslie Prince, Santa Rosa app.
Hi everyone, see some familiar faces out there. I'm Leslie Prince.
I'm Matt Carrier.
And our senior project was to create the Santa Rosa app that makes it easier for tourists or even locals of Santa Rosa to find businesses in this directory lookup. So this idea came from the city of Santa Rosa. They're very interested in, like I said earlier, making it easier for people to find businesses in the city to generate more interest in businesses. So he said the goals of this app is to just make it easier whether you look on the map view of where the businesses are, find businesses, browse, search, and one of the key features that this app has is to do a location-based search. It'll filter by how many miles you choose, and eventually this summer, because this is a summer-long project also, it'll go into implementing coupons so that when you go to a specific business, if the business has coupons available, they can go and see what they have to offer to generate more interest in the businesses.
So the things we've implemented so far is the directory of all the businesses that the city gave to us is a spreadsheet with all the business names and addresses. They didn't give us the phone numbers or anything like that. What they have is a database that they outsource back east somewhere that has all their information, and there's no easy way to get to it. So what we have to eventually do is make like a web parser to scrape all that information. But until then, what we have is just a spreadsheet that we built everything off of. And so far it offers directions to businesses, which is partially implemented, but it can show a map. We have another part working. The location-based search is working, so you can click where you are and find businesses that are near you. You can add businesses to your favorites, so if you want to access them quickly or not have to browse for them, you can do that. Another feature is parking, so if you're out of town, you don't know anywhere anything is in the city, you can store your parking spot with the program and then explore, get lost, and then find your spot, and it'll take you back to where the spot is. And then the coupon part we haven't implemented yet, but basically businesses can upload their coupons to the website right now. There's just no way to view them in the app until we actually scrape them. And I kind of went over the challenges, just like getting the data put together. We put it into a MySQL database and store everything there. And then what we needed to get was GPS coordinates from every business. So rather than looking up on Google Maps by hand, Google provides this nice API. It's called reverse geocode lookup. And what you can do is give them an address, and they'll give you back an XML file that has X, Y coordinates and all this extra information. So what we did is we wrote a script to take every business record from the database, send Google the addresses, they returned us the X and Y coordinates of where the business was, and then we updated the entry in the database with the location of the business, and the script did that for us. It took about 10 minutes to do 2,000 records, but Google has a limit of 2,500 a day, so we had to do it over like a period of 3 days. And then eventually we plan to cache more information, so we don't have to keep going back to the servers and hitting things. But the Google information is cached on our own server, and that's kind of works in a flow like this. So we grab the information from Santa Rosa, we grab the Google coordinates, we store it on our local server, and then it passes the information over to the map.
Alright, so now we'll be going into the demo of how this app will work, and there's some screenshots we took of the device, like here, so when you start up the app, it'll go to this main view. This is your home screen, and you can see it there. Sorry, it's a little cut off here, but the buttons over here represent all of the businesses that are separated into these main subcategories. And then you have the search bar implementation up here that will allow you to just search by name, because I know that's how I like to search by name usually. And you have the distance button, which will allow you to filter, like you said, about if you want to filter for businesses and only show them for about a mile, 5 miles, or 10 miles, that will filter your results by there. So here's that in action. When you select the distance button, it'll go and show how many businesses you would like to show in a certain radius where you're currently located on the device. So you go back here.
So that at that point you click one of the buttons to the categories.
Yeah. So let's say they selected the food category button. And it'll separate all of these businesses into these sub-business categories. So So you see there's bakeries, there's caterers, grocery stores, and so let's say they chose bakeries or things like that, and if you select the map view though, before you select it, you have the option of having it show all these pins on the map of where the businesses are, just to make it easier for you to kind of browse what's closer by me, where do I want to be, where is it easiest to get to. So if we select restaurants, that subcategory that we had in the earlier map view, earlier table view, we have all of the businesses selected down here for the user to browse through and parse what businesses they're like to visit. And so this is the actual business page of what the user will see when they select a specific business. So eventually when we have the data parsing in the websites going, you'll have an actual image over here, and you can see that it'll have the address here, and when that's selected, it'll go to the actual map view of where the business is on the map. And then the phone number, they have, so here it is. And actually over here, and you have the option, when you go back, to select it and go into favorites by pressing that star in the right hand corner, just to make it easier for you to go back and find the businesses that call up at a restaurant, phone number that you don't feel like going through before, and website button where when they select that, it will take you to the actual business's website if they give us and provide a website URL. Eventually there'll be descriptions and everything for there. And now I've touched up on it earlier, so this is the favorite businesses list, and it allows the user to select their favorite businesses, and when they select this favorite business tab, little star, it will show a list of generally their favorite businesses, so for easy lookup. So there's some interesting ones up there. And here's the view. It'll show the same. It'll link it to the right business view that they select from that business map.
And from there, you can get the directions again really easily.
Yeah,
This data is also cached too, so when you're not connected to the internet, you could actually get to it later on. The plan is to actually cache like the last 30 entries or something like that, just so we don't hold too much information on the phone, but also so you're not hitting the server too much trying to waste the battery getting information.
So if they want to get rid of a business, it's on their favorites list. It's pretty easy. You just swipe to the left, which is a standard way for deleting businesses from their database or what they see on this list. So this red button will appear and allow them to delete. Once they do, it's gone from their favorites list. So quick and easy way for them to access the businesses. So storing parking spots. This is an interesting feature that you don't see much on other similar applications where once you select that button on the top left called parking spot, it will show a menu of whether or not you want to save your parking spots where you're currently at. So it goes by core location, which is a built-in iPhone Objective-C library, where it uses your GPS coordinates of where you're currently at. And so this is a good way to help tourists and locals, people like me who would probably forget their parking spot. And so you have the option to find it or save it. And so once you do that, it'll show a path of, if you select find my parking spot, you get directions. You'll go over and it'll show a path eventually of finding where your current location is to the actual parking spot.
And if you run this on an actual device instead of the simulator, it actually switches to the Maps program, but on the simulator that isn't available, so we just ran that. So the frameworks and tools we use are MapKit for map viewing, core location to get your current GPS coordinates for displaying yourself on the map, MySQL for backend database for storing everything, SQLite for caching on the phone, storing local things. The server backends all in PHP. We use some JavaScript for debugging, just coordinates so we could use the Google Maps on the website without having to go into the device while we're working on it concurrently. And then we also use Photoshop to design all the graphics for the menus and interfaces. Do we have time for questions or running the app?
We have 2 minutes.
Okay, so were there any questions?
What's the everything button?
The everything button shows all the categories. So if you just want to browse through everything, it's kind of something we just put in there as a placeholder. We might make it miscellaneous, but I figure maybe someone just wants to be able to browse through every single category without trying to figure out how it's grouped together. Another thing we want, okay, go ahead.
On the specific restaurant view, you had the hours for today. Does that mean that it checks out what day it is and which hours it has that day, or is that just in general?
That's the plan. We don't have the information, though.
distances, or is it like, you know, a radius of virtual circle?
Yeah, it's a radius of the businesses where you currently are at, your core location, which an event earlier about where the GPS picks up where you're at. So it will take businesses that are within that 10-mile radius of your current location.
The app is really good about switching it to the iPad every time you want to use the iPhone. I think they try to push them on us. So here's the device in the simulator. We actually have it on the actual device, and one thing we learned is the simulator's results are very different from the actual device. If you try and run this on our device, there's memory management issues that won't show up in the actual simulator because the computer has all the RAM and the device just has fractions of that. So you can click browse. Here's some businesses. Put on the map. It's based on where you're there. If you do every category, it's kind of cool, like brains, pens, like crazy. So you go like food, pick like bakeries. Here's some places. You can go like that, get the information from it.
The main reason,
Okay.
the main reason why we want to scrape from the websites and everything is to be able to cache it and store it onto the iPhone's actual memory instead of having to access the web server every time to grab this information. It really drains your battery.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, so as they're setting it up, our next presentation is, its title is Wine Train. And the work has been done by Matthew Barrow, Sue. Susie and Nelson Martinez.
Okay, our app is called Wine Trails, and I'm Sue Leek, and Matt Barrow's driving the computer, and Nelson Martinez. So, our application is for people who want to find events that are related to wine. Sonoma County is a very popular destination for people that actually come here just for the wine. They want to taste the wine, buy the wine, learn about the wine and the winemaking process, all those kinds of things. So we wanted to develop an app that allowed people to find events other than, I mean, most people know they can just go to a winery and go to a tasting room and taste the wine, but there are tons of events out there that are related to wine. So our app allows someone, two different kinds of users. One who is already here in the wine country, and they can use their core location, which is their current location where the iPhone and GPS detects where they are, and then they say, I want to find events within 10 miles and on these particular days, and it will find those events for them. But it's also for a user who maybe is going to come here in 2 weeks and they're back on the East Coast. That way they can select a city. We get cities in Sonoma County, they select that city, and then they can say, you know, anything within 20 miles of Hillsburg, say, within, these are the dates I'm going to be there, and it finds events for them. And so, we need to go back. Okay, so what our app does is, as I said, it's going to search for local to Sonoma County wine-related events, again, using either your current location or selecting a city with, you can gate by distance and dates. Then once you've found an event, you can drill down into it and get all kinds of details about it, website, phone number, all kinds of things. Then you can get driving directions that will show you how to get there from your current location. And again, that takes you just to Google Maps like the Santa Rosa app does. You can add the event to your iPhone calendar. And then this other little thing we've created is for the user to create a tour of events for a particular day. And this tour is not to be confused with the tour of a winery, which are very popular, but you may add, the user can add, say, 6 or 8 events to their candidate list for a tour, and then the iPhone app uses a scheduling algorithm to create the best fit to fit as many events in a particular day as possible. And then that user can customize that as they want after the app suggests a tour for them, and then they can add that tour to the calendar so they can have a fun-filled wine drinking packed day in the wine country. So Nelson.
So we'll talk a little about the challenges and some of the complexities we face. So as she mentioned earlier, what we're using to get your current location is the Apple's technology core location, and that, like they mentioned, will go ahead and locate where you are, wherever you are in the world, and nail down your latitude and longitude for us. We're also using the SQLite database to obviously get all the information, populate it, run queries on that. We've created scripts to populate the database and also get queries. We're using EKE event to interface with the iPhone calendar, and that's how we actually add each event to your calendar, which we don't have on the simulator. So Sue's going to show you later, or we'll show you screenshots of how that works on the actual device, because we download this onto our device as well, and we'll use that there. We also have a scheduling algorithm that's going to generate a tour for you based on the events that you selected, and that we'll talk more about that later. And then some of the main complexities or challenges that we face are, Objective-C is new to us, so we haven't had a lot of experience in programming this language. So, and I don't even have an iPhone, so I haven't even seen any of these applications. I don't know what the interface is supposed to look like. So kind of picturing what the application was supposed to look like and how it actually works in iPhone is a learning curve. They have things like pinker views and action sheets that you have to figure out and utilize that. Originally, I just wanted like a drop-down menu, but it doesn't have that, so you have to kind of compensate for that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and run into a demo for you guys now. And it's a little buggy, so hopefully those bugs don't reveal their heads. Okay, so when you first launch the application, you're going to get 2 options, like we mentioned earlier. To either use your current location, or if you want to select from a certain city, say Santa Rosa, and find events within 10 miles of that, you would go ahead and click on the city search. But we're going to try and use core location and see if that's working for us. So Matt will go ahead and select the distance, range, and some search criteria to find events for it. And so there's a couple of bugs, but major. And this is the picker view that I was talking about before. This is something I had never seen before, so you didn't figure out any of that. Alright, so he'll go ahead and find this event. So core location is working. So these are the events that are within the distance range I wasn't sure that he selected. And this is all the events. So you can go ahead and click on one of the events and get some more information. So this will go ahead and tell you, give you more detailed information, the fees, the start time, and you can click on more info if you'd like to get actual like a summary of it, of the actual what's going on in there. And you can go back, and you can do get directions, but it might not work on this one, right? Okay, so it's working on this one. So this will give you the actual directions. This is going out to Google's API, and you have to give them a certain search parameter to go ahead and load everything. Then that gives you the actual drive directions from where you are. You can get the mapping too if you go back up to the top. So I'll click there, minus out so you can see. So as you can see, it located where we are right now, and that's working, right? So that gives you, your map, your actual directions. Check that out. And close this out and go back to. So that takes you out. So then you got to go back into our app, and then you can go ahead and add this event to the calendar if you want to. And like I said, the simulator doesn't have a calendar, so we have PowerPoint stuff because that works.
Any questions?
We're not,
Oh.
can you, hit the slideshow just so that's bigger? This might be a little bit of an eye test as it is. So what we wanted to show you was the add to calendar, the iPhone calendar. Because this is a really nice feature. As you can see, it populates all the main fields for a calendar item, like the date, the time, the location, and the name. But the thing we did in addition was added to the notes field. We added the actual street address, the phone number, and the website for the event. And as you can see, they're all clickable. So the user, if they're, what is this event on my calendar, they can easily see what it was. If they are trying to get there, they can just simply click on the address and it goes right into Maps. If they want to find out more information about it, they can click on the phone number, and of course the iPhone just says you want to call this number and it calls it, or they can go read the website if that's what they desire. So that's the add to calendar.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the tour. Sue kind of touched on it. So basically, our idea behind the tour was, what happens if a user is going to be in the area for a weekend and there's a lot of events they want to go to, but rather than going back in and looking for all the events again, what happens if we have a way to save them all in a certain place? Can we use our adding events? So he's going to add an event to tour right now. So yeah, do the one for list. So he just added an event to the tour. And so what that does is it takes that event and it adds them all to a thing I call tour events, and that's a list of all the events that you're interested in going to see. And obviously there's going to be probably some conflicting times because a lot of these wine events actually take place over several hours. So there actually was a lot of conflicts I found. And so basically what the tour does is that it takes all those events, and then so then you I use this release start time first scheduling algorithm, and so for the issue of simplicity, it gives you the option just go into tour events now. Click on that. All right, so we got 5 events, and so we can see that there's a new date on this. There's 2 different dates. So you can also click generate tour. Put it on the 20th. So obviously there's only one event on the 20th, so it selects that. So go back. Put it on the 21st. So now it chooses 3 events. So I think there might be another event, but so obviously there's no conflict here, and that's why it's able to schedule all that. I'll go back on this. Right. Yeah. Delete meet the winemaker. So now you can delete the winemaker in the tour events, honestly, slide it.
Left side.
Okay, why don't we stop this, please? At this point, I'm sure if other people want to know more about it, they'll talk to you about it. And actually, this application is on your device.
Yes.
So you can play with it if you like. We will take a pause here to have some pizza while the next team sets their system up. Jensen, Ryan Mosley, and Fred Wong. They talk about their app, which is right turn. Turn right.
There it is.
Yeah. So there's already set up.
Alright, so our application is basically like a GPS, it's like a GPS alarm clock. So basically, imagine that you're going pretty fast on a, dirt road, dirt biking. It's a bit bumpy, nothing past your skill, but, there might be a turn up ahead that you don't remember which way to go, or, a cliff or something bad. What do you do? Hopefully not go straight off the cliff or into a bush. So our app will send out an audio message basically when you reach within a certain distance of a warning that you've created ahead of time to remind you to turn right instead of going straight into the tree.
So yeah, we pretty much went over it. It will guide off-roading enthusiasts. Like, it can be used for anything pretty much. It can be used for tours that are just like going around a trail that you can customize it for. And then you can create your own track if you so choose to, or edit ones that you like find that warnings are out of date, or you change a warning. So this is the program. This is one feature of our program.
Yeah, the screen over there, we're gonna spruce up this kind of testing UI. It's gonna look a little bit more full, but basically the user will be able to create their own audio warnings. This is where you just create a name for your file and record whatever you want that warning to be ahead of time, and the audio files will be saved in a documents directory for your application. And just then reload every time you open up a new section of the application.
And this is the audio framework that we use.
Yeah, it's just the AV Foundation framework, specifically the audio portion, which basically lets you create objects for recording and playing audio files, and also allows you to manage all the settings associated with those audio files. Just channel routing, which is speakers versus headphones. You want to plug headphones in and then have it still playing out of the speaker. Interruption handling methods, incoming calls and text. You probably, for this, we don't want interruptions, mainly because you don't want to be approaching some type of hazard in the road and then have somebody call you and overwrite whatever message was going to play. So, you go straight into a ditch or something. So.
Then, yeah, there's going to be a course view that we'll show you in the next slide.
And the course selection will allow you to have multiple courses. So if you have different tracks that you go on, for instance, you'll be able to have a list of those. And each one will have its own set of points that you preset either that day or ahead of time. As soon as you select a course, it'll assume that you're going to want to run it. So it'll have an overview of the course with all the pins and stuff. And then on the top right, there'll be a run button. So when you actually run the course,
Yeah, this is how it will look. We'll change the UI just a little bit, like to make it fuller, and also changing, adding a function to add annotations. We haven't implemented that yet, but we will.
Yeah, we don't have it on our phone yet, so we can't really run around and add
So,
annotations.
yeah, this, you can select a course, and then it'll give you a overhead view of all the annotations, and then you can click one, and you'll be able to edit the sound file associated with it, so that you can just get a better heads up of what's, like a better warning. Then this is the run mode. We will change the biker annotation just to make it a different view, so maybe a blue circle or something just to distinguish from the other annotations. So once course is selected, there will be an annotation of where you currently are, so then you can go head towards the start of the course, and then it will start giving you audio cues. And then as you get closer to annotation, it will give you an audio cue of what to do, like turn right or turn left. The framework we use for that is MapKit and Colloquium. The Colloquium just gives you coordinates for your location and updates it as you move from that location. And the MapKit allows for the map views, allows you to place annotations onto the map view also, and to change them. And there's an overlay function which will create Yeah, they'll give you a view of all the annotations and then run it. And this is just a demo where it cues into where you are, then it starts running.
Simulating something moving, the animal.
They're right. So you have like an annotation. They're right. Yeah. So we'll fix the flickering, and then that is something that we will. Then that's the end point, and then that's the end of the course.
It's just a really basic demo. I didn't really run around and create annotations ourselves. It's just simulating something.
Oh, you want me to?
These are the two things at the bottom say course selection and library.
Here you
This
can
will
very
So yeah.
turn left. And then you can record. Not sure if you might record.
I don't know. Turn left.
Yeah, the mic
The mic
is
is
working.
working on this.
Yeah.
It does record things.
Yeah. But then we won't reload the screen to refresh when the animation is made. So we have not done that yet.
Yeah. That's pretty much that. So, question?
Got a quick question. So when you get close to that GPS coordinate, then it'll trigger. Is there like a certain radius that you have to take it within?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like depending on how fast you're going, it could be like maybe like a few meters or like a couple tens of meters, depending on like how wide the course is. We're gonna need to figure that out.
Yeah, we don't have that totally for figuring out the distance worked out yet. So it's just a set distance right now. But yeah, it triggers ahead of the annotation, so you have time to listen to the message before you hit whatever you're doing.
I have too much time. Does the alarm work when the phone is on silent mode and say you're listening to music? Does it like, cut the music stop and play that?
Yeah, well, that's all part of the audio settings for for playing
So
the
if you
audio.
accidentally have your phone on silent and you have a meeting with somewhere we can play, will it play while silent?
I haven't actually set that yet, but yes, you can do that, and I'm planning to do
Well, generally you'll probably have your phone set up because you probably are gonna be dirt biking right after a meeting.
Right.
So.
But yes.
Bike everywhere I go. I don't have
Yeah.
a car, so if I'm leaving somewhere important, so I'm gonna bike.
that. Yeah, you can set it to play even when it's on silent. So.
Thank you very much. Just very short, this is a location-based alarm. That's what the application is.
Career? Are you in career or me? I don't have anything to do with my platform.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Okay, our next speaker is Ryan Shaw. His work is with Dr. Ravi Kumar, and the title of his talk is Recognizing the Shape and Content of a Table on a Scanned Image.
Thank you. Okay. So this is not like a key capstone or anything, so it's just a little fun thing I did. Okay, so the goal was to have an image and alphabet HTML. This is just made like or something. To do this, I use the breadth search algorithm. You to remember, pretty much start at a pixel and work your way down. Like so. Okay, so now how are we going to convert this image to HTML? The first thing you have to do is you have to find the table, which is floating nebulously in the image somewhere. The breadth search works great for that. Then you have to find each cell inside the table. Breadth search also is perfect for this. And you have to find all the borders inside, and I hacked thread search a little bit to get this to work with that. And then finally, you find all the text. And thread search everywhere. Looks awesome. Now, you take all of your input that you found, you stir it up, you pop it in the oven, and bam, out comes your HTML. Exactly. Okay, so now that's it. I'll show you guys
You use JPEG for pictures.
I use it. So I don't have part of it to worry about. Okay, so this is that sample that I was showing you, and after running it through the program, this is what comes up. As you can see, this is all text. The text has been optical character recognized along with the table. This one's a bit more complicated because it has actual row span along with call span. Everything is a lot more complicated in this version. This is a little messed up, but all right, that was it.
Thank you, Ryan. It's awfully hard to condense the work of 4 or 5 weeks into 10 minutes. And I'm sorry that we're rushing people in and out. We just have limited amount of time. Thank you so much. We have more presentations next